Hi, everybody, and happy 2026. We are starting a new year and we have a new tutorial. Now, I do need to give you a little bit of a warning. I'm just hopefully getting over a cold. It seems to not want to let me go, but if I sound a little nasally, it's because I am. But I have put this off for 3 days and it is Monday. I need to get it done because Friday is coming and I want you to have your tutorial. So we are gonna power through. I've got my water. I've got my, I've got my water. So we're gonna get going. It's also one of those really weird days. It's beautifully sunny and blue skied outside, uh, but the wind is howling. The temperature doesn't know what it wants to do. I put on a sweater. It was too hot. I took off the sweater. It was a little chilly. So I threw a shawl over my shoulders and perfect. So I am ready to go. I also decided to do something that's fairly simple. I wanted to do something that's easy breezy, pretty, and beginner friendly. So we're going to do some jump ring earrings. I did a what is it? Chainmail class a couple of weeks ago, and it was fun. But I don't have the patience to do a whole lot of chainmail. So I thought I'd give you a little taste of it with some earrings um, in a very beginner friendly way. We're doing three different ones, and they're not all chainmail. I can't claim that they are. And I'm not using chainmail um, jump rings. I'm just using regular jump rings and using that to do some different designs for earrings. So all that you're going to need for this is different sizes of jump rings, and I'll explain the sizes when we get ready to do each one. You'll need your usual tools, your round nose pliers. The barrels are round all the way around, starting larger at the bottom near the hilt and tapering up to almost a tip at the end, uh, almost a point at the tip. You'll also have your square pliers that are slightly rounded on the outside, but if you look on the inside, it's completely flat, and that's what helps give you your square shapes when you want to make those. It also starts larger at the bottom and tapers to almost a point. When you're buying these in the store, make sure you get one that is completely flat and smooth on the inside and doesn't have those little ridges on it. Even if you're ordering it online, you'll be able to see in the pictures whether or not it has ridges on it or not. And or you should be able to. You don't want those because they will damage your wire. The third thing that you need is a pair of wire cutters, and that's what I have here. And they do exactly what they say. They cut wire. So then we need our 20 gauge wire and several sizes of jump rings. So let's go ahead and get down here. Oh, and a ruler. You need a ruler to measure your wire out. And so a selection of beads. I'm using some paper beads and some ceramic beads just because I started to do just jump rings and I thought, I've got to have some beads in there. Just gotta. So let's get down to the mat and get started. Okay, the first one that I'm going to do is this one. I thought that was very pretty. So we're going to make this one. And the biggest thing that you need to remember on this one, as far as your jump ring sizes, is that the two jump rings that are going to go together, the smaller one needs to fit right inside the larger one. You don't want too much space, but you just want it does need to fit inside. Like this would be too small. So you want the smaller one to be, in this case, I'm going 2 steps down in size. You can do 10 with an 8 being the next size going on the inside, or you can do an 8 with a 6 being the one that goes on the inside, but it needs to be 2 steps down in order for the smaller one to fit comfortably inside the larger one. So I just have three rings here, and I'm just doing through three tiers. You can do as many of these as you want, but I thought this was very pretty, so I just stopped with three. So what we're going to do, again, is put your smaller jump ring inside your larger jump ring. I'm calling these small, medium, and large because this smaller one is what we're going to use to link everything together. So I've got my jump rings inside each other. You want to check and make sure that your jump rings are completely closed and that the little tips are lining up together, not overlapping when you get started. So if you buy your jump rings already closed, you shouldn't have to worry about that, but just check to make sure. So I'm going to take one pair of my jump rings and I'm going to take another pair of my jump rings. And what I want to do is layer them on top of each other like this. I'm going to go ahead and pick those up. I find it easier to rest it on my fingers and then put them together like this. Oh, the first thing that you need to do, sorry, I missed a step, is open your jump rings up because you're going to need to link these together. And it's a lot easier if you have them already open. These all stay closed. These are the ones, the small ones that you're linking with are the ones that you need to open. And so let's do that. Gives you a lot of practice, especially if you're a beginner working with jump rings on opening and closing jump rings. So I've got my jump ring. Find the little opening spot, which is right here. I'm holding one side of the jump ring with one plier and grasping the other side with the other plier, and then I just twist it open like that. Make sure it's open wide enough so that it can easily be used to wrap around your jump rings. If you just give it a tiny little opening, it won't be wide enough and you'll have to go back and reopen. And it's much easier if you have everything open when you get started. So I'm going to open up all of my jump rings. Again, I use my fingernail. If I can't see it, I use my fingernail to find the opening. Twist. Okay. There it is right there. One plier on one side, one on the other side. Give it a good twist open. And last but not least, there, they're all open for me. Put those on my way and grab my larger jump rings. Layer them together, one pair on top of the other, like so, and they're just staggering. A better angle here. Here we go. So they're just staggering on top of each other like that. So now, and of course, one decides that it wants to go away. There we go. And now I'm going to grab one of my small jump rings with my pliers. It's right here at the back. And I'm going to loop my small jump ring around all four of the larger jump rings. So just slide that in there, all around all four of them, and close. Now you can squeeze it closed and then adjust it to make sure that the little tips are together. I find that easier to do than trying to pick up another jump ring because I only have pick up another plier because I only have two hands. And then once it's closed, I can go ahead and let go, grab my other plier, and adjust it until the tips are together. I'm just wiggling that. There we go. So that's nicely closed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now all four of those are together. Spread that back out till I have my two pairs. And then I'm going to go to the other side and hook it together on the other side. Why am I getting so much blurriness? Come on, give me a break. So I've got the one side done. I'm going over here to the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. Grab my little jump ring and hook it through all of my larger jump rings and close it. So now this is what I have. Now I'm going to show you something else too, because I'm going to go ahead and hook this up with an ear wire. But this is what I have right now. There's my first pair. But if I don't have something at the top here to hold on to it, it's going to flop. This one's going to flop over. So I want to go ahead and make an ear wire, or you can put a jump ring through it. But I'm going to show you how to make ear wires anyway, so I may as well go ahead and do that. So here is my 2 inches of 20 gauge wire. That's all you need. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and right here on the tip, I'm going to slide my wire, just the tip of my wire, down about 1/4 of an inch down my pliers, and I'm going to make a loop. I want to make sure that tip is not sticking out the back here of my pliers. And I'm just going to rotate my hand just a little bit until I get the start of a loop. Then I'm going to open my pliers up, reposition them back, and do another little turn in my wire, and just keep doing that until I have a loop. Until I have a loop, and my little tip is backed up against the rest of my wire. And then what you're going to do is make a little loop. You can use an ink pen. I'm just going to use this little guy right here. Sorry for the shakiness. It's under my camera. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this little round cylindrical item. You can use an ink pen, just some small cylindrical item that you can use to make a little circle around. So I'm putting this behind my little loop. Just about 1/4 of an inch above the loop is where I am resting my little cylindrical item. And then I'm going to wrap that around until I have a nice little round shape, just like so. And take that off of there. And I'm going to shape it with my fingers. Just give it a little curve, just a little graceful curve. Then I'm going to grab either your round nose pliers or your flat pliers, either one, and right here at the tip, I'm going to put a little bit of a kink in it. So I'm just going to give it a little twist, like so. And there's my ear wire. Easy breezy. So now I'm going to use that to secure this. Make sure they're both on opposite sides, like so. And I didn't open it up. And you're going to open this the same way you do a jump ring. You're just going to twist it to the side. And slide that in the top two. See how that flops down as soon as it doesn't have anything to hold it together? And close that up. Well, I have to get them both in there. That's why I said you want to make sure that it's a quarter of an inch away from the tip of your round nose pliers, because it needs to be big enough to go through both of these little jump rings. So get around there to the opposite sides. There we go. And it goes on the one that's on the bottom. There we go. Make sure you grab both of those jump rings. I only have the top one in there. Let's get the other one in there. There we go. And close it up. There. So this is what we have so far. And that really needs to go the other direction. I'm going to turn that around in just a minute. But this is what we have so far. And we're going to add the third one. See how it flops over if you don't have security? Get over there. Stay. Grab the other one and put that on top. And they need to be on top of each other. You always want the one that's at the bottom to be on top of the one that's above it. Place that on. The trickiest part of this for me is making sure that my hands aren't covering everything up, because these jump rings are small. And if I cover them with my fingers, you can't see what I'm doing, which is why I try to talk my way through it as much as possible. All right, let's grab that next jump ring. And this is also why you want them open already. So I don't have to put down, pick up, put down, and pick up. Oh, get on there. I started with this one because it's the most challenging. I said, we'll get that out of the way while our brains are fresh. Okay, so now I want to thread this through all four of my jump rings again. Okay, let's get through there. Come on. really? This is so humiliating. Just fumble fingers all over the place. Okay, let's make sure I've got all four. I do believe I have one, two, three, four, and close that up. Okay, let's grab my other pliers and make sure that my loops tips are together, nice and close. There. All right, let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Grab another jump ring. And slide that through all four of my rings. All four. Okay, now, really? Oh, just I'm glad, kind of glad that happened. I wanted to let you know that you guys that are getting kits, I am giving you extra jump rings. Don't worry about it. I get people that say, "Am I supposed to use all of these?" Not necessarily, but if what just happened to me happens to you and it ends up on the floor, you won't have to chase them around as much because you're going to have some extras. You can go after those later. Keep them for whatever you want if you ever find them again. Okay, there we go. That in all four of my jump rings. Close it up. And get those tips together nice and tight. And there we go. Now I need to turn this around because this should be going in the other direction. So I'm going to fix that. Just reopen. Take it off and turn it around. Put it on the other side. And close it up. So there we go. Get these over where they're supposed to be though. It's supposed to be on the side. Did I do that correctly? Now what happens is these will flip over, which is what that did. It flipped right down. So just flip it back up and slide your jump rings back in place. And this is what I have. And it's going to do that until I put whatever I want on the bottom because it's unstable right now. So this is the main part of my earring. Here it is. That's the main part of my earring. And I'm going to add a bead on the bottom because I like beads. But that is the whole process for this one. Again, this is the most challenging of the three because you have to get these linked together properly. But other than that, I think it's worth the effort. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bead. And I have this beautiful kind of orange colored ceramic bead. I thought that was gorgeous with this copper wire. So I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of wire. What I would suggest is because I'm going to put a little spiral on the bottom, just to kind of echo what's going on up here, I decided to do a little spiral. So I need about an inch to an inch and a half, depending on how big you want your spiral to be for that. I need an inch for the other side of my wire to do my wrap and my loop. And then I need enough for the bead to go through. This bead is just under half an inch if you measure it. So that's a half an inch, and an inch and a half. So that's 3 inches, which is what I have here. So what I'm going to do is make a spiral. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and my 20 gauge wire. I'm going to grab the very tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, like so, and I'm going to make a small loop. Just going to rotate my plier hand until I have a loop, like so. If I can get this to, oh, it's trying to focus on this. I have since learned that this tries to focus on everything in the picture and then it doesn't focus on anything. Thank you. I think that's better, but not perfect. There we go. So once I have my little loop, just keep rotating until I have a small loop. And then I'm going to keep rotating around that loop. Now you don't want it to go on, you don't want to stack the loops on top of each other. You're wrapping the wire around itself. That's the best way that I can think of to describe it. And if you see where it's starting to pop up, where it's stacking, just push it back down with your pliers and continue until you have the size spiral that you want. Now I'm going to shift to my flat pliers and continue my little spiral. And I'm trying to match this one, so I'm going to look at it occasionally, see what I have. And just spiral until I have the size I want, remembering that I need a 1/2 inch for my bead and an inch for my wrap. So I don't want to go too far. So yes, I'm good. Check that, looks good like the other one. And once I have my spiral, yes, they look pretty good. Once I have my little spiral to the size that I want with enough left for my bead and my wrap and my loop, I'm going to take my wire and bend it straight out above my spiral. So I'm going to put a sharp bend in it. I use my fingernail, but you can also use your pliers. I want to show you that as well. And just put a sharp bend in your wire, just like that. Okay. Then make any adjustments that you want to make. Grab your bead, put it on. Nice. And let's make our wrap. So I'm going to be using a jump ring. So I want my wrap to go to the side to side. So this is side to side on my spiral. So I'm going to bend my wire to the side as well. Grab my round nose pliers. I don't need too big a loop, so I'm just going to go down about a quarter of the way down my quarter of an inch from the tip of my pliers here. Bring my pliers over the top. My wire over the top of my pliers and down the side of my bead. Open up my pliers, reposition, make sure I'm still a quarter of an inch away from the tip, and bring that stem under my pliers and over the top of my bead until I have a loop, just like that. Then I'm going to switch to my flat pliers and just make a little wrap under my loop and over my bead. over the top of my bead. And you can give yourself as much of a wrap or as little of a wrap as you want. Just make sure you have a good inch and a half. I mean, a good wrap and a half. I'm just saying things all wrong. Around there just to make it secure. And I have a nice little cap on top. That's pretty. Cut off what I don't need. Hold on to that tip so it doesn't go flying. And use my square pliers to push down that little end so it doesn't snag on anything. So there's my little bead that I'm going to attach to my earring. So now I'm going to attach my jump ring to the bottom of my earring. So I'm going to go ahead and slide on my bead. Just put the loop to the bead right on the inside of my jump ring. Grab my earring and slide that jump ring through both of the bottom jump rings. So small jump ring through the larger two jump rings and close it. And there it is. There are my earrings. Ah, yay! Those are beautiful. Kind of hard to see them laying down. There they are. Yes. And I'll hang them on something so that you can see them in a nice picture. It's kind of hard to see them when they're not hanging. Nice. That's earring pair number one. Let's go to number two. Okay, so the second pair is going to be like a little cascade. Here they are. Kind of hard to, really, they're laying down, and that's not the way they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be hanging. But I'll show you, I'll give you a better picture of them when I can hang them on something. So for that, I'm going to need more jump rings, of course, and I'm going to go ahead and get my setup, and I'll be right back. Okay, my next set is going to require three sizes of jump ring. And again, you want to go 1 to 2 sizes down for each jump ring. You can go 6, 8, 10, 5, 7, 9. It just depends on what you can find. We don't have to fit anything inside of the other, so there's not that you don't have to worry about that. But you do want some different sizes. Now, you could probably do this in all one size. I just don't think it would have the same effect. But what we're going to do is start with the smallest jump rings. You need 4 of those. The medium size, you need 3, and the largest ones, you need 2. So I'm going to, again, open one jump ring. And put the other 4 closed jump rings on it. And again, you want to always check and make sure your jump rings are all nicely closed the way they should be with the little tips together. And then I'm going to close that. And now at this point, you can add your jump ring, your ear wire if you want to, just to make sure that it's easy to hold. That gives you just something to hold on to. And I'm adding that on the one ring at the top. So then the next thing I want to do is add my 3 medium jump rings. And for that, I need to find my middle jump ring. So I'm going to move, oops, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I'm going to open that up. So I'm going to find my middle jump ring and open it up. I have to find the opening. There it is. Open that and put all 3 of my medium jump rings on it and close. And this is what I have so far. I to do this when it's laying down this way. See if I can hold a little bit. So now I've just got 1 jump ring at the top, 3 small jump rings in the center, and 3 medium-sized jump rings in the middle. So now I'm going to put that to the side because I need a bead. So for that, I'm again using 3 inches because this is going to take up about half an inch of space. Somebody's texting me asking me if my health is better. Yeah, not quite. We'll get there. So again, I'm going to make another little spiral, but I'm going to do a different kind this time. I just want a tiny little spiral on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my round nose plier right here at the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. I'm going to make a loop. Pat, my buddy that just texted me, I'll get back to you in a minute. She's gonna she's gonna kill me because I'm saying this on camera. So I'm gonna make a little loop. Oh, I'm off camera. I'm so sorry. So I'm gonna make a little loop. Come on, focus on me. Well, it really does not want to. Focus. Thank you. My goodness. Make my little loop here. And then I'm going to continue and make another small loop. I don't want this one to be too big. I want it nice and tight. That's my clock telling me that I'm taking too long. I'm just going to do a tiny one just like I did this other one. So there we go. Nice tight little spiral there. These. Focus. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one. I'm going to turn my wire until it's straight out to the side or to the top of my spiral here, like so. Then I'm going to put my bead on. And for this one, I'm using a beautiful African paper bead, or I guess I should say a paper bead made in Africa. A friend of mine said, "What makes it African?" Good question. It was made in Africa. So then I'm going to again bend my wire. Actually, this one I'm not going to wrap. I'm just going to put it directly on on my ring so that it's way up. Well, you'll see why in a minute. But I didn't need as much wire, but that's okay. I'm going to bend this one to the back. So this is going side to side, but my wire is going front to back. There we go. Then I'm going to cut that down to 1/2 inch because that's all I need. Cut that off. This is big enough to use later, thank goodness. And I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to slide my wire about 1/4 inch down my pliers. Make sure that the tip is not sticking out. I don't want to be able to feel it. And I'm going to make a little loop, just like I did before. So there's my little loop. Make sure it's closed, nice and butting up and against the rest of the wire, nice and closed. There we go. And let's go ahead and grab my earring again. So now I've got 3 small jump rings hanging from the other small jump ring. I've got 3 medium jump rings hanging from the center of the um, small jump rings. And now I'm going to find the center of the medium jump rings, the center one. So just go right in there and grab that guy. And I'm going to open it up. There's the little opening, and this is big enough that I can twist it open with my fingers. Yay. And I'm going to put on one of the large jump rings, my bead, just slide that in the little loop, and the other large jump ring. And I'm going to close it back up. Make sure everything's nicely closed. Oh. And voila, there's my little earring. It's this way. You know. Trying to see if I can get a better view here. And hey, let's back this way. I know. Get on that. Let's see if that works. There's my earring. Goodness, I can't get a good view, but I will give you a good view when I show it to you at the end. Sorry about that. Right now, it just looks like a bunch of jump rings, but I will show you what it looks like at the end. Ugh. Okay, last but not least, I'm making a very simple tier of loops. I love this one. It's very simple. And let me go ahead and get my jump rings and I'll be right back. I put them all out, but it would just be too much to have out here all at the same time. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to move on to the simplest of the three. So this one's just a simple tier of jump rings. And again, you can use just a step down of sizes to get the tiers to look the way you want. You can go 10, 8, 6, 7, 5, 3. If you want to go as low as 3, that's pretty small. I find it easier, especially in craft stores, to find the even number jump rings than the others. I had this whole box of different sizes of jump rings, and they skipped right over the 9. I don't know why. But anyway, I think it ended up being 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So I don't know. But anyway, just give yourself a step down for each of your tiers. I went 2 steps down. I went 10, 8, 6, and I'm linking them together with fours, which are admittedly very tiny, but you don't have to open these. So that makes it a little easier. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take my middle one. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put all of my little jump rings on, all of my tinies, my teeny tinies. In this case, I've got 4. And I can see where this is not exactly butting up, the ends aren't butting together. So I'm going to fix that. And again, I'm giving you extras because these tiny ones do like to run away. And they don't just run, they jump and leap parts unknown. So I don't want you to have to feel like you should have to chase them down. There's another one that's not quite the way it should be. The other 2 looked okay. All right, let's put these other 2 on. My middle-sized link and close it up. So then the next thing I'm going to do is separate these 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. And then I'm going to grab my largest jump ring, open it, and slide the 2 of the tiny jump rings inside it, just like so, and close. I love the clicking sound. That means the tips are together. Then I'm going to go to the other side. And again, you can have these open already if you want to, and you don't want to have to keep putting that down and picking up, putting down and picking up. That's probably a good rule of thumb. It definitely is when you're doing any kind of chainmail, which again, this is not because I'm not using chainmail jump rings. So I'm going to slide my medium sized or my smaller sized um, loop for my tier inside of my teeny tiny ones. I guess I should say the teeny tiny ones are inside my smallest here. So now, there they are. And I just need to add a bead because I'm a bead person. I like them. So let's go ahead and grab my bead, which I'm, again, using a beautiful bead that was made in, I think this was made in Uganda. So pretty. Yeah. Move. If I can focus on this gorgeous bead. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to grab my wire. And this one, again, is not going to be wrapped at the top, but I am going to make a little spiral at the bottom. So let's do that. Grab my round nose pliers. And I'm making a tight spiral. So I'm going to go right here on the tip of my wire, grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. I'm gonna bring this down closer. That's all. Doesn't want to focus. That's better. Okay. Tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, and I'm gonna make a loop, just like I've been doing all along. Once I have my loop, I'm going to continue wrapping the wire around itself. And again, we're not stacking it. We're not making a coil. We're making a spiral. So the wire should be wrapping beside. One of the wraps should be wrapping right next to the other, like so. And then I'm going to change to my square pliers. And if for some reason, do this, it's all lifted like that, because you've accidentally started to coil instead of spiral, your square pliers will take care of that because it'll push it down so that the wires are beside each other. So I'm going to continue to spiral until I have the spiral size that I want. And because I'm trying to match this one up, I go next to it. I just continue my spiral until it looks the way I want. And you can also count your spirals. Somebody said, can you count them? Sure you can. Whatever works for you is correct. There. Nice. So once I have my spiral the size that I want, I'm again going to bend that wire until it's straight out. And you can use your pliers or you can use your fingernail. I always use my fingernail, and people don't like to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do it with your pliers. Just right here on the tip, either with your flat pliers or your round pliers, either one works. And just twist until it's straight up, just like that. Double check. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Yes. I'm almost finished. Okay. Put my bead on. I want this to be mirror imaged. So check and see which direction my spiral is going. This one's spiraling this way. This one's going to spiral this way. So it can be a nice mirror image when I wear it on my ear. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to bend my wire until in the direction of, okay, how can I put this? This is side to side. This is up and down. So I'm going to bend it to the up and down position. Then I'm going to cut that down to 1/2 inch. Again, I have too much wire, but you're better off having too much. And you don't, I didn't know how big, I don't know how big you want your spiral to be. Might want a really large spiral. Cut that off, put that aside for other use. Grab my round nose pliers and let's make a loop. And it doesn't have to be too big because it's just going to loop over a jump ring. So I'm going to go down 1/4 inch from the tip and rotate my plier hand until I have a nice little loop, just like so. And again, check to make sure that your tip is backing up against the rest of my wire. Nice and closed. There we go. Now I'm going to open that up, just like I do my jump rings, just open it to the side. And I'm going to put it on my smallest jump ring tier. And close. Let's twist that back to the closed position. Yeah. Nice. Now all I need is an ear wire, and I'm all set. Okay, let's open up my ear wire, attach it to, let me double check my placement here. Yes, that's that way. It goes that way. Slide that on my largest tier and close it. And there we go. There are those earrings. Nice. There they are. That's my third set of earrings. Let's bring the others out. See if I can get them to lay down the way I would like to show them. Come on, lay down for me. This is the hardest one to get to lay down because when it lays down, everything collapses. You can't really see what it looks like. Okay, so those are our three pairs of earrings. I'm going to hang them on something so that you can actually see what they look like, maybe my ears. And I'll be right back. Okay, there are our earrings. The things that you can do with jump rings and just a couple of beads. Just amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this. None of these I don't think take more than 20 minutes to make. And it takes me a lot longer on camera because I'm dealing with the camera. So you should be able to whip these up in no time. Less than half an hour, you'll have at least one pair of earrings and you can move on to the next ones. And honestly, this one over here takes about 10 minutes. This one, maybe 15 minutes for both earrings. This one's the most challenging. And for me, it was only because I was trying to make sure that you could see what I was doing under the jump rings. And they just keep falling over because I'm looking at the camera, making sure that my fingers aren't in the way. They are. I have to move them. The jump rings fall apart. Anyway, I hope that you'll try this. And those of you who get kits, I'm giving you a bunch of the little ones because really they do. I am surprised, very surprised, that more of my little tiny ones didn't run away from me when I was trying to work with them. When I was doing when I was doing the chainmail class, they were just flying across the room. It was so funny. The instructor, Tamori, said, "I don't think I've ever seen that happen." I'm really bad at it. But anyway, it's not everybody else was doing just fine. I was terrible. So I hope that you'll try this because it really is worth the effort. And these came out really pretty, and I will definitely be wearing them. So that is our start to 2026. I hope that you will stay with us and continue to support the DeKalb County Public Library the way that you have. for these last few years since we've been doing these tutorials because it's been a lot of fun. Until next time. Let me give you the information about where you can get in contact with me, which is at jewelrygin20 at gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20 at gmail.com. You can leave comments and pictures on the library Facebook page at DeKalb Library. I'm sorry, let me start again at facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's spelled DAKALB LIBRARY. You can also leave comments on the library YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. And you need to write that whole thing out. DEKALBCOUNTYPUBLICLIBRARY. One way or the other, I hope to hear from you because I would love to get your feedback on how these tutorials are working for you, if these tutorials are working for you, and what you would like to see me make later because I would definitely love to know about that. What do you want to see in this new year? So until next time, have a great week, have a great weekend, and I hope that you have a great 2026. Bye-bye.